Listo, ya está. Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenos días a todos y todas. Bienvenidos y bienvenidas a esta presentación del proyecto del doctor Sylvain Soleil. Antes de pasar a presentar al doctor Soleil, el doctor Ezequiel Abasolo me ha pedido darle la bienvenida al doctor Soleil. Adelante, Ezequiel.
Bueno, querido Sylvain, te queríamos agradecer la oportunidad de acompañarte en un proyecto tan significativo, tan ambicioso y que tengo la certeza de que va a arribar a muy buen puerto. Me pone muy contento que consideres que el Instituto de Investigaciones de Historia del Derecho de la Argentina te puede auxiliar en esta tarea y además también invitarlos a los colegas de nuestra red a escuchar esto, sumarse. Es una oportunidad de ganar para todos. En este diálogo interoceánico de historia del derecho que cada vez es más sólido. Lamentablemente tengo otras ocupaciones en este momento y me debo retirar. Quiero hacer esta aclaración para que no parezca una falta de urbanidad, pero quería hacer este agradecimiento público y sumarme a la invitación a todos nuestros colegas de Argentina, de América Latina y de Europa a acompañar este emprendimiento. Muchas gracias, Sylvain.
Muchas gracias, doctora Abasolo.
Okay.
Entonces, le damos la bienvenida al doctor Soleil. Lo vamos a presentar ante esta audiencia. Le vamos a contar que Sylvain Soleil es doctor en Historia del Derecho por la Universidad de Rennes, Francia, y es profesor de Historia del Derecho y de las instituciones en la Universidad de Rennes. Es miembro del comité editorial de estudios Studies in the History of Law and Justice, entre otras muchas publicaciones. Sus áreas de investigación son la historia comparada del derecho, la historia de la justicia, la historia de la administración. Es autor, entre otras obras, de una introducción histórica a las instituciones y de numerosos artículos publicados en Alemania, España, Bélgica, Estados Unidos, Chile, entre otros países. Colabora con diversos centros de investigación, América, Asia y África. En 2021 publicó Los orígenes de la oposición entre los sistemas de common law y de derecho codificado, las controversias angloamericanas de 1820 y 1835. Y por supuesto, tiene muchísimos más pergaminos que necesitarían un zoom completo para poder dar cuenta de todas. Les agradezco a todos por estar acá. Les quiero aclarar que este proyecto está avalado por muchísimas instituciones muy prestigiosas del mundo, entre las cuales está este Instituto de Investigaciones de Historia del Derecho, la Universidad de Maastricht, representada acá por nuestro miembro de la comisión directiva y miembro del instituto, el doctor Agustín Parise, y por el Departamento de Ciencias Sociales de la Facultad de Derecho de la Universidad de Buenos Aires. Todos los que han contribuido para que este evento pueda tener lugar hoy. La presentación del doctor Soleil será a través de un PowerPoint en ambos idiomas, en castellano y en inglés, para que puedan seguirla también los que no están familiarizados con alguno de los dos idiomas. So, Sylvain, from now on, you can share the screen and start your presentation. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Viviana. You know, for me, it's a great honor to be here today and to present to you this international project. And firstly, I want you to know that this won't be my project. It will be an international project, and I am a little animator, the main animator, if you want, but just a little link between all that we are sharing together, the presentation of all customary laws all around the world for all citizens and for all researchers too. This is an idea I had many years ago, and now we've got a little budget in France, little fees, monies, to have a good website and to have someone who could, in the future, work only on this project. So this project has 4 goals. The first goal is to put online the sets of customary laws published throughout the world. Official texts written during the history, but also unofficial text in the world. The second goal is to conduct an epistemological and interdisciplinary reflection on the writing down of oral traditions, because when a political authority decided, for example, in Spain or in France or in Poland, to have an official text from this population, their customary laws, of course, the nature of these laws are so different before and after the reduction for many reasons. So we want these 2 goals to be produced in parallel. On the first hand, the publication of all this text, but on the other hand, a reflection on the transformation of the nature of these customs, of these traditions, during the moment a political authority decided to put this text in a written book. The third goal is to understand why certain political authorities have refused in the history to put their legal traditions in writing. For example, I work in Africa, and for most people in Africa, no way, they didn't want the village jefes, chiefs, they didn't want at all to have written text because of the transformation of the tradition in a kind of new textual law. And of course, the 4th goal is to bring together researchers from all over the world to address these 3 issues, to have a great network together for this project, but also for all other projects in the future. Then I want, during this hour, to explain to you the method to put online the sets of customary laws published throughout the world. On the first hand, each specialist in a customary laws of a people transmits to us the text of customary laws in word form. We want a word text. It may be an officially promulgated text, like, for example, for us in France, all our customary laws were officially promulgated during the 16th and 17th century, but it may be a study published by a public official or a traveler or an ethnologist during the history. And then, as soon as we've got this text, we want each specialist to accompany the text with a short introductory note, an introductory notice. Because the text and the notice could be integrated into the website of the Société de Législation Comparée, not only the text, not only the introduction, the notice, the introductory notice, note, but the two texts in front of, in regards. Then, for example, you've got here the text that have been sent by my colleagues from Spain. There is a team from Spain. The captain of this team is my friend Miguel Angel Chamocho from University of Jaén. And then many researchers sent to us, for example, Consuetudinarios de Lerida, Noticia Introductiva, et Consuetudinarios de Miravet, text. Consuetudinarios de Perpignan, notice and text. Then we've got two texts, okay, two word text of Consuetudinarios, the note, the introductory note, and the text itself. For Spain, we've got all the text by now. On the first hand, I will talk to you about the texto. As soon as a specialist proposes us a text on customary law, for example, of these people in Argentina, of these people in Chile, and so on, he or she must, before each article or group of articles on the same subject, indicate some keywords taken from a common list of common legal concepts. I show you. You've got here a kind of thesaurus that has been produced by colleagues from Germany, from Italy, from Spain, from England, and of course from us in France, to have here almost the main concepts, the main legal concepts. For example, if I take here the law of obligations, you've got the word contrat, and then in Spanish, contratos, in German, Verträge, contratti in Italy, and contracts in English. And then for all these legal concepts, you've got a list of 100 concepts, and we want the researcher to pick up these concepts for each article or each group of articles of a text of customary law, because it is these keywords that enable us to register the text on the site and allow researchers to search by keywords. You know, we won't translate the text itself. We won't translate a text from, for example, people from Argentina in French, in English, in German, and so on, because of problems of translation and problems of fees, of course. We want to have the original text, but to use all these original texts from China, from Japan, from America, from Latin America, from Europe, from Africa, and so on, we must have the same keywords. Then we've got this list of 100 keywords of legal concepts translated in 5 languages, so French, German, Spanish, Italian, and English, of course. And then we can by now have a text that could be used by all researchers and all citizens all around the world. I can give you here an example. You have the text of Costumbres de Horta in Spain. This text has been sent by Josep Serrano Dora, profesor de Historia del Derecho, Universidad Internacional de Catalunya. No, sorry, it's the nota introductoria. It's not the text. Sorry. Text, this is. Okay, so Josep Serrano Dora sent us this texto oficial Costumbres de Horta, Catalunya, España, in Latin, okay, in Latin words. And then we have, before each article, the main legal concept, who is here, bienes, here, peajes, here, autoridades políticas. And for example, for a group of articles, example here, procedimiento, crimen, blasfemia, injuria. Here you've got a group of text, of articles, and we've got the legal concepts in each languages, in 5 languages. Another example here, you've got a lot of articles about policia, orden público, mercancía, juegos, posada, feria, armas, pesos y medidas. And then we can put this text on the website because each citizen in the world and each researcher can use these keywords to find what he wants to find in this text. Another example, this text is in French. It's the Coutume des Anis in Costa del Marfil. This text I had put it in form. And then before this group of articles, okay, here, I've noticed that it's a problem of familia, jefe de familia, antepasados, linaje, parentesco, and so on. And then when we've got all these keywords just before one article or a group of articles, we can put it on the website, and then the public of the website could find what he wants to find. This is for the text itself. And then, on the other hand, I will give some words about the nota introductoria. As soon as we receive an introductory note, we translate it into 5 languages, French, Spanish, German, Italian, and English, because it is this notice that enables us to record the essential information on the site, and that will allow researchers to use the customary law of another country without making any mistakes in terms of date, of geography, of nature, of legal value, and so on. We must have this information from the specialist, you, of course, to know how to use this kind of text. Just take two examples. Our colleague, Joseph Serrato, has written Nota Introductoria Costumbres de Horta. Then he answers 5 questions. ¿Cuánto se hizo esto? ¿Dónde? ¿Quiénes intervienen? Procedimiento, objetivos y efectos de la redacción y validez. At the end, some elements of bibliography, and then we traduce this text here in French, and then in German, and then in Italian, and of course, at the end, in English. Then everybody could know how to use the costumbres de Horta, because we've got the answers, the informations about the 5 main questions we have on this kind of text. Just take another example. I show you Coutume des Agnus, Costa del Marfil. Here, one colleague from Costa del Marfil wrote the notice, Coutume des Agnus, Côte d'Ivoire. Then he wrote in French, quand, où, qui, validité, procédure, some element of bibliography, and then we translate it in Spanish, and then in German, and then in Italian, and of course at the end in English. Then we can have on the website for each, I hope, of course, for each customary laws in the world in the future, the text itself and the nota introductoria to use these customary laws everywhere in the world. And of course, if for some lands, for some countries, we haven't got any official or unofficial texts, we can also use a kind of inquiry, of investigation. We have some colleagues from anthropological fields that are written by now some inquiries, some investigations on these people or these people to know what are their customary laws today, nowadays. And then they wrote to me the text, and then I could put it, of course, on the website saying it's not an official text or an unofficial text, but only an inquiry, an actual inquiry. And then we can have perhaps in the future the main customary laws from all the world. And you must know that by now there are 100 universities and centers of research who are working from the 1st of May of this year on this subject. Then grateful with Viviana, because we talked about it. I really want to work with your institute and to work with Latin America, of course, because one piece of my heart is in Argentina. Viviana knows it because I was there in August in Argentina for the first time in my life with one of my daughters, Diana. And then we had a very, very special moment here in Argentina, in Corrientes and in Chaco. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Sylvain. This is really a wonderful project. And I have a couple of questions that I guess many of the people present today may ask you. So first of all is whether we can include non-official texts as, for example, travelers' texts. Go ahead and answer because I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
Is this correct?
Okay. As the specialist could say to us, attention, warning, it's not an official text, but only a text that have been written in the 18th century or the 19th century as a traveler and so on. Of course, we invite the specialist to give us the text, but we must have with this text a nota introductoria who could give these warnings, okay, for the researchers in the world, because perhaps the traveler is not a lawyer, perhaps the traveler has seen something in front of these people who are not very true. So we must have some warnings. But as soon as we've got these warnings in the nota introductoria, of course, we want to have official and unofficial texts. So it's okay?
Okay. Yeah, clear. It's clear for me. I have 2 or 3 more questions, and then I will let the others ask. My second question is, I don't know if I missed something, but I don't know if the nota introductoria, the introducing note, is standardized.
Yes.
The questions
yes.
are standardized or
yes.
not?
Yes, it is
because
standardized.
I saw in one of the examples you showed to us, I remember that it said who was the authority that had issued that custom, and I didn't see that in another one. So
Okay.
that's why I'm asking.
Okay, we had sent a model. You know, it's my specialization to work on legal models. So I give some models, some standardized text to my colleagues, but some of them, they answered to me, I have no answer on this kind of information. For example, about the validity. Someone said to me, well, Sylvain, I'm not really sure that the validity of this custom began in this century, then I can use a sentence, some words to say that I'm not sure. Okay, but we have a standardized text saying how, where, who, when, and the validity, and of course, if possible, the procedimiento, okay, that has been used to write this text. Okay.
Okay, great, clear. And my last question: when is the deadline for this project?
Okay, I have 2 answers. There is an institute in France which gave us some money to work on the website on the first end, and to have a postdoc who has just been found by me last week, Jean-Philippe Yas, a young doctor in law. And for them, we must give a kind of product, the end of official end of the project in May of 2025. Okay, it's not 23, it's not 24, but in May 25. Then we have time. But of course, I know that it won't be the end of the project, because perhaps some colleagues in the world, they could in the future have some notice of the project, perhaps in 25, and then they will send to us in 26 or in 27, no matter, okay? But of course, for me, if I can have a lot of text before the summer 24, it will be so interesting for us, because I have just 1 year to pay my postdoc until October of 23 to October 24. Then I want him to work during next year. Okay. So we have time. We have a lot of time. Thank you very
much. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. And I'd like to invite the participants to ask questions and commentaries and so on. So if you please raise your hand or unuse the hand that is under the list of participants. Well, there's a question from Agustín Parise from Maastricht University, and another one from Antonio Torre Fernandez. First of all, I would like every of you to introduce yourself in 2 words, so as let Sylvain Soleil know you. Les pido por favor a los que hagan uso de la palabra que se presenten brevemente para que el doctor Soleil sepa quiénes son. Excuse me, you wanted to ask something?
Yes, and I want to ask
go ahead.
During your presentation, could you say to me the kind of costumbres you're a specialist, okay? Because I can have a vision of all Latin America, okay? Thank you very much. Okay, Agustín?
Lo que dice el doctor, lo que dice el doctor Soleil es que por favor los que le hagan la pregunta le indiquen en qué costumbres están pensando, de qué área geográfica, para que él se pueda ubicar. Agustín, adelante.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. En inglés, ¿no? Natural. Sí.
Yes, yes.
Sí. Yes, yes. Okay. So thank you for your presentation. And regarding customs, I don't work on the customs in depth, but I've been touching upon them, especially in the relationship with the civil code and the place of customs within the code. But my question was more about how do you envision the cluster of customs through time? Because you're taking a very much geographical approach, but there could be also in the same space different customs. And are you planning to focus on a specific period? Are you planning to have layers within the spaces? So if you could tell us more about that. Thank you.
Okay. I will answer each question, okay, directly.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, each question.
Okay,
Go
for
ahead.
everybody. Okay. So, Augustine, you're right. For example, for us in France, we had many versions of customs. For example, I live in Angers. There is an old customary law from Anjou, and then a modern one, and so on. Then I give each specialist the freedom to choose one text and saying why this is this text which is very, very important, the most important, or to choose 2 or 3 texts if he wants. For example, as you are in Maastricht University, I have a friend called Fred Stevens. Fred Stevens is from Leuven University. And he said to me, well, you know, for the customs from Ghent, there are two main texts. And then from Anvers, there are two main texts. And he said to me, I can't choose. I will give you this text and this text. But of course, if a specialist says to me, well, Sylvain, there is one main text and the other one are not so important, I want to put some words in the nota introductoria, but no more. Okay, each specialist has the freedom to do what he wants because he is the specialist. Okay, Augustine.
Yeah, if I may follow up very briefly, but then that might trigger the situation that because the specialist is an expert in antiquity and he will deal with a custom of long time ago, or if he's a more 19th century scholar or even a 20th century scholar or an early humanist, then it's really related to the specialist and not so much to the custom itself. Did you think about that, how to deal with that? Because if not, we will not be following customs, we will be following experts that deal with customs, and they are the gate to the custom.
Okay, but you know, Augustine, I have no other solution than to ask each specialist to make himself the choice. Because if we were 100 historians, legal historians in the world, we can have all the text, but we are not so many in the world. Then I ask the specialist to say what is for you and for the lectures, for the citizens and the researcher who could in the future use your text, what is the best choice for you? This is the only solution I have on this question.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Augustine.
Okay, thank you very much. Antonio Torres Fernández, adelante, abrite el micrófono, presentate brevemente.
Hello, thank you very much, Viviana. Thank you very much, Sylvain.
Se escucha muy mal, Antonio, muy mal.
Okay, I'm very sorry for the technical issues, but this is the current system that I have right now. I'm very sorry. I would like to ask Sylvain, because I have already sent him an email, but unfortunately I haven't had a reply. And I would like to specify that my field of expertise is Islamic law, and particularly Islamic law from the region of Afghanistan, Iran, and Tajikistan. And I don't know if there is room in this project for this kind of law, which is very different from civil law in Europe and common law in the rest of countries. And just mainly that, because there is a big lacuna regarding customary law in these countries, and I would like to contribute to your projects, but I don't know if there is room for my research. Thank you.
Okay, so Antonio, I had your email, but this week it was I was so busy with so much urgencies just before going to Costa del Marfil on Sunday. Then I had some priorities, and I guess that today I will have some exchange with you. Of course, I will welcome your work, and I'm so grateful because at the moment I have many problems to have some links with Middle East. Why? Because of money. A lot of colleagues from Syria, from Iran, from Lebanon, from Palestine, from Jordania, and so on, they say to me, well, Sylvain, it's a great project, but we have no money to work nowadays. So if you can't pay us, we can't do the job. And then I have no answer, no solution to work with the Middle East, except with some colleagues from Europe or from Latin America, as you, Antonio, who are working nowadays on these customs. So it will be very, very good to have this link together.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Alejandro
Agüero, adelante, presentate, por favor.
Sylvain, how are you?
Good.
I think we met by 2010 in Ghent.
See,
I
yes,
still remember that.
I still remember too. It was a
okay.
great congress.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I think it's a very ambitious project, and it gives us a real tool to deal with this subject as customary law. And my question is related to some point that Agustin pointed out, in the sense that if you are considering to take traveler stories, or for example, I'm thinking about the first description of native people here in Argentina that were made by our first legal historians at the beginning of the 20th century. They were dealing with people that they didn't have a written system. So our first legal historian, for example, Carlos Octavio Bunge, at the beginning of the 20th century, he wrote the first history of Argentinian law, and he dedicated the full first volume to the custom of the native people here in Argentina. But when you read that, it's a text that, of course, is biased by the restraints of the time, by the way they read that customs, full of prejudices and westernizing all the description. So I was wondering if you have a kind of epistemological filter for these kind of stories, because otherwise you may run the risk of reproducing a westernization of traditional people's customs. I don't know if...
Yes. Okay. It's a great issue, and a fantastic one, I think, because when I thought of this project, I didn't want to have only on the site all the texts that have been written in the world. I've also the idea to have altogether an epistemological reflection. Then, in the future, in 24, I want to have, or 24 and 25, I want to have 2 congresses. Of course, I think perhaps by Zoom, perhaps if everybody has got fees to go here in France, 2 congresses on this issue. The first issue is that talking about customary laws, and not only traditional laws, is very different, and it's a Western way of view. I take the example of my friends from extreme East. They are working on China, on Taiwan, on Japan, on Korea, and they say, Sylvain, there is no customary law before the Japanese invasion of all the extreme East. The Japanese, they have done what the French and the English have done in Africa. They wanted to have the customary laws official text from Korea, from Taiwan, from China, only to know what are the laws here, and to have some judges who could judge with this text. This is the first epistemological issue we want to work in the future during a Congress. And the second one is yours. We've got some official text on the one hand, and we've got unofficial text from travelers, from ethnologists, and so on. What is the qualities? What are for us the interest of this kind of text? Could we or not give this text for the citizens in the world and the researchers in the future? Perhaps yes, perhaps no. Why not? And why yes? This is, I think, the subject of the second Congress we can have in the future, because what you pointed out is a real issue. Of course, as a French, when I read some texts from German ethnologists in Cameroon or French ethnologists in Costa del Marfil, wow, it's so different from what my colleagues from Costa del Marfil are talking about nowadays. So this is a real issue, and I think that it could be a real great meeting from all the world. Okay, Alejandro?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Hay más preguntas, hay más comentarios. Yo no veo más manos levantadas. No sé si alguien me está haciendo señas en la pantalla. No hay más preguntas. Entonces, voy a preguntarle voy a comentar con ustedes y preguntarle al doctor Sylvain cómo seguimos con esto. Sylvain, we invited a lot of people to this presentation, but I'm sure there are many people who could not attend this presentation today. So first of all, I think that we could tell the participants here that if they are interested in the project, they can email you. Your email is in the flyer. Yeah, it's in the flyer. Okay. But for those who could not attend this meeting today, we are going to reinforce the circulation of the information. We are going to post and send by email again to our database the flyers you sent us in Spanish or in English with all the information about the project, so as to let them contact you. Excuse me?
And all the socios.
Do you agree with?
And all the supporters.
So,
and all the supporters
because
of
in
the project.
Flyers, in the flyers you sent me before our flyer for this meeting, there's a lot of information in Spanish or in English. So, and there's your email there. So we are going to load these flyers in our Facebook and in our website and send these flyers to our base of contacts. Do you agree with that?
Very, very good.
Okay.
And if I can say a word for me of conclusion,
sure.
Just look at this at the end of my presentation. For me, each specialist becomes a member of the International Progress Project. They receive official certification if they want. I could send it, no problem. They have access to the international network, Europe, Africa, Asia, Oceania, Americas. Very important for me because by now I have of course a network in France, but I have also a network, an international network, and I want this network to work without me. So I can give you some links with colleagues in Africa working on the same subject from you, from Extreme East, from Europe, and so on. It's for me very important to know that it's not my project, it's our project all together, okay? In my career, I'm not waiting for something in terms of glorification or to have more power in legal history in France, because I'm a professor by now. There is no problem for us, for me. So I want this international project to be yours and not my project, okay? Very, very important for me.
Okay, no need to clarifications. We already know you, and it's not necessary. So,
No.
¿hay alguna otra pregunta? Si no, vamos cerrando, porque creo que el doctor Soleil se tiene que retirar. Así que bueno, seguimos en contacto, se contactan con el doctor Soleil, todos los interesados, y hacemos votos para que esta reunión haya servido para reclutar investigadores de todas partes del mundo. Así que, thank you very much,
Tiago,
Sylvain, thank you very much for this presentation.
And you can send me the questions in Spanish as in English, as in French. I'm not talking in Spanish, but I can read and write in Spanish without problem. Okay? Okay. Thank you much.
Okay. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.